Alright guys, so I wanted to do a video on APUs and kind of a quick update on J&R Schugel. Man, so far they're pretty awesome when it comes to loads and stuff. The last two loads sucked, but they were trying to keep me around home. That way they can get me home for today. And I'm in Columbus right now. I live in Toledo. It's about 130 miles away. And they're just having me drop this and deadheading home after this. So, and then I told them I'd leave back out Monday morning if they can get me a load. And they already sent me a pre-plan for a load going from Columbus. So I'm going to deadhead back down here Monday to Minnesota. So and I'm hoping they're going to swap me out into a new truck because they said that this one's, they're getting rid of this one. And they were only had me take it so that I can get it up to Minnesota. And because nobody else in my, orientation wanted to drive a manual because they're all pussies. I'd almost rather have an automatic than this 10-speed, man. I freaking hate 10-speed, dude. I mean, on flat ground they're fine, but when you get up in the hills and the mountains and you're heavy, which with reefer you're heavy a lot, it sucks. I hate 10 speeds on mountains and hill and big, in PA and out west, man. It's just they're junk, man. They're not meant for hills. They're meant for flat ground or light loads. So. And the only reason companies get them is because they're easier for dumbass drivers to drive and they're cheaper. So 13 speeds are more expensive. They're more expensive to fix. And if dumbass drivers drive them, they break more because they're harder to, they're a little harder to drive. But they're not that hard. I don't understand what the problem is. So, you can drive it like a dang 9-speed if you really want, and then just flip up split the last gear once you get up to speed. You can drive it like a 9-speed with overdrive if you really wanted to, but, I wouldn't do that, but, you can. That's how I drive it if I'm empty. I don't split the gears. When I'm empty, I just shift up, H pattern, and then split the last gear. So, anyway, enough with that. So far, so good at J&R Schugel. Pretty good company so far, kept me moving. I only sat for a day, and that was, I needed to do a reset anyway, because after orientation, you have to add your hours for orientation on there and all that. I only had like 17 hours left when I was getting ready to deliver, and it didn't deliver for a day. So I got there early enough to where I could do a 34-hour reset, and not have to worry about running all my hours till I get home, or running on my recap. So that was good. So I didn't mind that. Like I said, they already got me pre-planned for Monday, so, it's like 900 and something miles. Works for me. And hopefully after that, they'll keep me out west or something, for a little while, or running back and forth. I like them long runs, man. So, anyway, the point of the video is I want to talk about APUs and stuff, mainly for like new drivers or anybody that's never had a truck with an APU. This is my first truck with a diesel APU. I've had ones that have the electric APU, the battery-powered APU, and I've had tons of trucks with bunk heaters and things like that in them, which isn't really an APU, but it's an alternate way of heating the truck other than running it. And the battery-powered ones, it worked for a little while, probably a couple months, and then the batteries just start to give it, taking a crap or, this or that. I mean, there was nothing but problems with that, and we had, when I was working for the contractor at FedEx that got him, he put them in 4 of his trucks, the trucks that did over-the-road stuff, or was out all week, and they worked for a few months, and then, man, they just all started having problems, so he just said, stop using them, just idle the truck, it ain't worth it, they were constantly fixing stuff on those things, so we just stopped using them. I didn't like it anyway. It didn't work very good. If it was, kind of hot outside, if it was above like 80 degrees, it wouldn't keep it cool in there anyway. In the bunk heat, it just used a bunk heater. It didn't use its own heat. So gave you extra batteries to make the bunk heater last longer, basically, because you had your 4 normal batteries for the truck, and then it also had its own set of I think it was 4 or 6 batteries that they put another battery box on the truck for that, underneath the catwalk in the back. So it had its own set of batteries just for the APU. So it kind of helped with the bunk heater, you know, making it last longer without killing your power if you got a bunch of stuff plugged in. Plus, you can have a bunch more stuff plugged in and not have your, you know, power go out, you know, or have to start the truck. So that was okay, I guess, but they're just not worth it in my opinion. Bunk heaters work good, but bunk heaters can only do so much. You know, they blow too hot of air for when it's not freezing ass cold. And when it is freezing ass cold, you know, when you got stuff plugged into the truck and you got the bunk heater running, it still uses power. So you can't just sit there and leave your truck off for 10 hours, you know, or 9 hours or 8 hours, because it's going to kill the batteries. You know, so a bunk heater is good for a little while, but I would definitely rather have something else. So, in my opinion, an APU, you know, they're well worth the money. Now, I know a lot of these big companies like Knight, the reason they don't have them is because they said in one of their videos on YouTube that they tried them and it cost too much money to keep them up. Well, it's part of doing business, bro. You know, it's going to save you a shitload of fuel, so why not? You know, if you think about it, you know, let's say you're idling for 10 hours every night when you park, and fuel's $2.60 or $2.80 a gallon. That's $26 to $28 every night you're wasting in fuel. Okay, times how many days in a year is that driver on the road? Probably 300. You know, 320. So, you know, that's a shitload of money, bro, a year. You know. So, let's see how much money it is here. Sorry, I'm not good at doing shit in my head. So let's say 320 days times, we'll go on the low end, $26. That's $8,320 a year wasted in fuel if the prices don't go up, if they're only $2.60 a gallon, which is lower than where they are most places. And you can get an APU installed for, I believe, around 10 grand. So it'll pay for itself in less than 2 years. You know, and then let's say in 2 years, you're going to save like $16,600. Okay, you paid for the APU, plus you have $6,000 for the maintenance of the APU for those 2 years. You know, plus, you know, you might not save a whole lot of money in the first 2 years, maybe a couple grand, but you're not putting wear and tear on your main engine, which causes more money in repairs. You have a comfortable driver without having to idle the engine, you know, which makes for happy drivers, which keeps them in your trucks. I met a driver the other day when I was doing that 34-hour reset that didn't have an APU, and they had an idle shutoff on his truck, and he couldn't override. It was 80 degrees. I mean, when it's 80 degrees outside, I don't care, dude. You might be one of those skinny bastards that can sit in the back of a truck when it's 90 degrees in here or 100 degrees in here and be fine. No. This dude was skinny, and he was still sweating his ass off in that truck, you know? He had all of his windows open, the vents open in the truck. He had one of those turbo fans going. He said he still couldn't sleep. You know, he couldn't sleep for the last 3 days hardly, but a couple hours because he couldn't idle the truck, and he was down in Texas. You know, it was 98 degrees down there. So, you know, and then he was in Florida 2 days after that, and it was, you know, or a day and a half, whatever, and it was hot. You know, and then he was up here and it was 80 degrees. It was like, dude, fuck that. I won't work for a company like that. You know. You know, and like companies like Knight Transportation, they have it set to where you can idle when it's above like 70 or something and below, I don't know, 40 or whatever, but still, dude. When it's 70 outside and the sun's beating down on your truck, You know, unless you got a nice cool breeze blowing through, dude. Yeah, I mean, unless you got your windows all the way down and a fan blowing on you, it's still hot in the truck most of the time. You know, if it's 70 out at night, it's fine usually, unless it's super humid, then I'm still uncomfortable. You know, so 70 degrees to me and real humid weather and 70 is still too hot to sleep in, you know. 65 or so when it's real humid, yeah. That's, you know, I can deal with that. I just can't cover up. You know, so now if you're from the south, then that's probably a lot cooler than you would be comfortable in, you know. You'd be comfortable in hotter weather, but not all of us are from the frickin' south, or not all of us are string beans that can, you know, that can handle 100-degree weather all day. So the way they got it, the APU set up in this truck, the only thing I don't like about it is you can't put it on auto. There's an auto feature on the controller, but it won't go into that mode. I wish it would. It'd be nice to be able to just put it on auto and have the fan, you know, the fan and the APU will kick on and off as it needs to, instead of the fan just running constantly. But at night, I'll put it on high at first when I get in the truck till the truck cools down and the sun starts going down or whatever, and then I'll put it on low before I go to bed. And you can control the temperature on mine. I'll show you guys later. After I'm done talking about it, I'll show you how it works, how to turn it on and off, and all that. And this, I guess, is the older version. On the newer version, this one has a digital display that you can put the temperature on it and control it and all that, which I like. The newer version, I guess, just has knobs like on a Freightliner. You can turn it, you know, the fan control knob, the temperature, and then heat or air or whatever, I guess. Which is, I don't like that either, but, you know, whatever. And I've heard of people with these Thermo Kings having them set up to where when you shut the truck off, it'll automatically turn on. I don't know if you can do that or not, but I've heard of people saying they do it. But you can't do it in this truck apparently, or I don't know how to do it. So every time you turn the truck off, you gotta jump in the back and turn it on and all that stuff. Which isn't a big deal, but it'd be nice if it just you could set it to where, you know, for a temperature, put it on auto, and then when you shut the truck off, it'll automatically kick on. That'd be amazing, you know. So I don't know if you can do that, but that'd be awesome. But the good thing about it is I have an APU. They installed a power inverter for me. I got a TV too they left in here, and I should be getting the direct TV soon. The direct TV is all set up in all their trucks. They just don't put the receiver in there, the TV, until you actually want it in the truck. But they left the TV from the last driver in the truck. They just took the receiver out, so I'm just waiting for that. And I probably won't use it that often, but it's only like I don't know, 10 or 12 bucks a week, or 14 bucks a week maybe, which isn't that much money, you know, to be able to turn the TV on when you're sitting and waiting to get loaded, or, you know, doing your 10-hour break for an hour or two, you know. Plus it's got a DVR, I guess, so if there's a show on in the middle of the night you want to record, you can record it and then watch it the next, you know, time you're stopped. You know, because I hate commercials, so that's awesome to me, so. Yeah, it's well worth it. You know, like I can leave my laptop plugged in all night, my battery charger for my mod, you know, things like that. It's got, I think it has 4 plugs on it. And when I go home, I'm going to bring a power strip in the truck, and I won't use it for powerful stuff. Like if I get a microwave or a fridge, but I'll use it for all my little stuff. You know, like chargers, and those don't draw a whole lot of power. It's a 1500 watt power inverter, so it should be fine. And if I need to, I'll buy another small power inverter for that type of stuff and plug it in if I don't have enough plugs. But I'll plug it into one of the cigarette lighter outlets. So, freaking fly right in my eyeball. Anyhow, but yeah, to me it's well worth it. There's a lot of different APUs. The Thermo King ones, the Rig Master and all that. I've heard nothing but problems about those Rig Masters and stuff though. But so far this Thermo King one's badass, man. It's, you know, running great, doesn't go through a lot of oil and stuff. I check the oil every day in it, you know, when I do my pre-trip. Hasn't went through any oil or anything. It runs like a top, you know, keeps it cold in here even when it's when it's real hot outside and the sun's shining in your window, you gotta kind of close your curtains or put something in the way, because the sun going through the window kind of overpowers it a little bit, because it only uses the back air. It doesn't use the front, so it's kind of, you know, but I just close the front curtains, you know, when it's real sunny out like that, and it works fine. So, because when I was sitting at that, doing that reset, it got up to about 88 degrees that one day. And I had the front curtains closed, except for over here, I pushed it open so I could smoke. I had the window about halfway down, and it still was keeping it cool in here, so, you know, it works good. So, I like it, man. If I buy a truck, which I plan on doing the next couple of years, I don't care if it's a used truck, a new truck, I'm gonna put an APU on it, and I'm gonna save up the money before I buy the truck for that. I'm gonna find out how much it'll cost, and as soon as I get the truck, it's going straight to Thermo King to get the APU put on it. So it's well worth it in my opinion. It saves you fuel, saves wear and tear on your engine. Because idling is one of the worst things on a diesel engine. I mean, low idling anyway. High idling, if you high idle it, it's not as bad. Still wear and tear, but at low idle, you're never supposed to do that with a diesel engine. If you're going to idle all night, rev it up to like 800, 1,000 RPM, and set it. So, all right, well, that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the controls, how to turn it on, stuff like that. And when I get home, I'll show you guys the actual APU itself and how to check the oil and all that good stuff. So, all right. And one thing I forgot to mention is, you know, a good thing about an APU too is even if it's not, you know, super cold outside, you know, you don't have to run the fan. You can turn the APU on, and if your batteries get down to a certain level, because all the stuff you got plugged in, it'll kick on and keep your batteries running, you know, charged all night. And you know, these APUs, like if you, let's say you park your truck for a couple days and it won't start when you come back because you left something plugged in, it'll take a while, but you can start the APU up. I believe it has its own battery. But you can start the APU up, and it'll actually charge the batteries in the truck. It'll take a while, you know. Don't get me wrong, but it'll take a while. But that's what I've been told is it'll actually start the truck. You know, it'll take a little while, but it will start the truck. So. That comes in handy. But if you run reefer also, you can also jump the batteries on the truck off the reefer. That takes a long time too though. But I'd be really careful about doing that. You don't want to fuck your, you know, battery up for your reefer. So, alright, well, I'm up next, so when I get done here, I'll show you guys how to control it and all that good stuff. So, alright guys, so I said I was going to show you how to use the APU. Excuse my truck right now, it's kind of a mess. I just threw my stuff in here from home time, and I got to get rid of that. That's trash, and I was using that for my cooler because I didn't want to bring this to orientation, and I'm going to be getting rid of this thing. It's a piece of crap. Don't buy one. It'll keep stuff cool that's already cold, but it will not cool anything that's not already cold, so don't buy one. Not worth it. And that's just all my paperwork and junk. I gotta find somewhere to put all that, because once the wife comes in the truck with me, we can't leave it there. So but we'll be getting a different truck, so once I get the new truck, then I'll, you know, organize everything, you know, and all that. So, and I haven't even put away all my, this is all my recording stuff and for audio and all that junk. I haven't put that away yet. All my clean clothes I got to fold and put away, and shower bag, all that good stuff. So anyway, once you shut the truck off, as you can see, not running, come back here to the APU, and you see the main power is on, APU is on, and if you leave it like this, when the truck, the batteries run low, it'll start up on its own. I left it like that all weekend, and when I came back, it started up right when I got here, just to, you know, kind of charge the batteries and stuff. And what you do to turn it on is you press this, and it goes to either fan, heat, or AC. Then you press this one and turn it on the fan level. Now it has an auto, but oh jeez, they're loading me and it's shaking like crazy. It has an auto, but it doesn't work on this one for some reason. I don't know why. So right now I have it on AC and on high, and the air comes out of here, and then add to this top one right here. And what that is it's just a oh shoot, I got too much stuff on my bunk, but
I'll show you guys that later, but all it is a hose that comes from the APU over to here. It also has one that runs up here. Excuse all this mess too. I haven't got this truck organized yet. Runs up here and blows out right there. So for the top bunk. So it blows out up there too. So that's it. But as you can see, this truck's been beat up. It's all scratched up inside. I mean, not horrible, but there's all kinds of stuff like that in here. Whoever had this truck before me didn't really take care of it too good. So, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just kind of beat up for only having 400,000 miles on it. So, oh yeah, I'm at a Georgia Pacific getting loaded. I don't know what the hell they're loading me with, but man, this place is tight. I had to come in there and then pull it up there. And I mean, it wasn't horrible. It's not the tightest place I've been, but it's pretty tight for a big truck. And especially that little road where I don't know if you guys can see that, but where you had to come around that corner. My passenger side tires were pretty much touching the edge, and then my trailer tandems, which are slid all the way to the front, were about a foot from those poles. So it wasn't horrible, but you know, it was kind of tight. So, but whatever. So there you go. That's how you control the APU. And like I said, it works really good. And I don't want to drive for a company that doesn't have APUs ever again. So there you go. So see you guys later.